All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, in our round of 8 match. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the pink Zerg player from Root Gaming going for the early pool. Give it up for SolO. And his opponent spawned down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, completely oblivious to the early pool as of right now. But captain of Root Gaming, give it up for Root Gaming's CatZ. And this is the first glance that he gets of the Zerglings making their way across the map. Now, behind this, we have more Zerglings being made for SolO. He is going up for that natural expansion eventually, so he saved up some minerals for that. But, I mean, 6 Zerglings can actually get a little bit of damage done over here. Now, the question is, does he go after the hatchery? Does he go after the drones? Spawning pool is finished up over here for CatZ already, so he's going to have some defenses up eventually, as these Zerglings are starting to be made. Spine crawlers being made right now, and it looks like SolO is just going to try and get a kill on this hatchery. Pretty good identification, I think, from SolO. This is probably one of the best situations he could have asked for, because if he gets this hatchery, oh, the drones are being pulled. CatZ is going to try and save it. It's gotten very, very low, and is he going to be able to win this engagement? I mean, I think that he may end up losing some of his drones, but he should be able to defend over here. More and more of these Zerglings are still coming across the map for SolO, though. He's getting up his queen and everything back at home, but he still has a few more Zerglings making their way across the map. No, these are the last Zerglings now. And I think with that, CatZ manages to defend. He doesn't end up losing any of his workers in the meanwhile either. So this is actually just barely going to work out quite well for CatZ. He takes a lot of damage on this hatchery. It might be a vulnerable target later on if SolO continues the aggression. If he tries to do some big follow-up aggression sometime with a lot of speedlings. But, I mean, you have to also remember, SolO did not get his gas geysers. He's basically playing speedless for a long period of time, whereas CatZ, he's already started that gas mining. He's already gotten Zergling speed started up. That's the biggest thing, as well as the fact that he now has a spine crawler for the defensive play. CatZ also has a decent number of Zerglings, so he can put the pressure on, and I mean, keeping these Zerglings alive I think is going to be fairly important for CatZ, just because when you have Zergling speed and your opponent is going to not have it for a really long time, I think that CatZ can probably guess that there was no gas being taken so far from SolO. That's kind of my guess, just based on how many Zerglings were made and everything, when they came. I'm sure that he can maybe make a couple of guesses about that. But, I mean, with Zergling speed finishing up, that's going to really cue the time where CatZ is able to get heavily aggressive. I think he knows it. He's getting up a lot more of these Zerglings, going to start sending them across the map and looking to put on the pressure. And there's not a lot that SolO can do besides try and block the ramp and prevent those Zerglings from running up into the main base. And basically just trying to do his best job to defend the natural expansion drones and make sure that too many of them don't die. He still has not gotten any gas geysers over in his main base. He's gotten the gas geysers as natural, though, which is a really interesting choice. I feel like the gas geysers at the natural are going to be more vulnerable than anything else, but I do like the whole walling in. It's just that he's not going to be properly positioned with his queens in time. Queens are going to get surrounded. Baneling's also coming in from CatZ, so they would have knocked down the wall in anyways. Going off on both of the queens. Transfuse does get thrown down on one of them, only keeps it alive for a little bit longer, and it seems like CatZ is pretty much got a firm control on this game. Already going to be getting a huge shut off on most of the drones, and CatZ evens up that worker count, so he was only sitting on 19 workers, but I mean, now he has the massive advantage. He's going to be able to go after some of the queen, still has Zergling speed, and can continue to just rally more and more units across the map. Got to get those guys across the map if he actually wants to continue the aggression with it, though, as well, he's actually managed to take out most of the Zerglings, it seems like, with a really good speedling control. And at this point, SolO's really not mining, so CatZ, I mean, he did a really solid job with the defense. I actually thought that he was going to end up losing that hatchery. It looked really close, because that hatchery got fairly low on health. I mean, less than 250 hit points. I mean, of course, it's regen some of the health, but CatZ walks away with game number 1. Putting his player through a little bit of a schooling in ZvZ so far. SolO tries to go for a bit of a risky play, trying to catch CatZ off guard. But again, I would love to maybe get like CatZ or, you know, of course, SolO's thoughts and just saying like, okay, I feel like he should, in a lot of situations, you expect the hatchery to have died over there. But pulling the drones at the absolute right time, and I think just dancing around, buying enough time, definitely worked out quite well for CatZ. So I kind of wonder, like, if the hatchery didn't go down, if there was like small little things that if SolO had just cut to get out a few more Zerglings, maybe he would have actually been able to take out that hatchery. We'll never know, though, because we're hopping into game number 2, and we're moving on with the series to game number 2 as CatZ leads up 1-0. Map is going to be Dust Towers, a little bit more of a macro-oriented map. We'll see you guys there. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in game number 2 as we spawn down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map on top of the pink Zerg player. Give it up for CatZ SolO. Going for the overpool. And spawning up here in the bottom, or sorry, top right-hand corner of the map, we have the yellow Zerg player as the yellow. Give it up for CatZ's CatZ. As I already messed up that intro a little bit, but again, Dust Towers, much safer map to try and take expansions on, and we actually have SolO going for the low ground expansion, which is kind of interesting. I'm always really curious when players do this. I like it when they do it in a lot of other matchups like ZvT, ZvP, because you get that creep spread going a little bit sooner. Your queens can move back and forth between your main and your third a little bit faster. But in ZvZ, I feel like it's a lot harder to actually make work because not having that kind of small choke point where if you're up against a big speedling attack does make it a lot harder, I think, to defend, because you can't just wall off your ramp easily with 2 queens and prevent any of your drones from going down or something if there's a big Baneling or Ling flood or something like that. Instead, you have to defend this massive ramp, this massive area where there's a lot of space for Banelings and Zerglings to run rampant, and you can't really make use of SimCity nearly as well. So, always very interested when we see a player that goes for that low ground expansion. Even if it is going to be helpful for queens to get that creep spread up a little bit sooner. Regardless, though, CatZ going to take the in-base natural expansion, a little bit safer of a play, and does go for the double gas guys to try and catch up on the gas mining, as he did go for a gasless opening, something that I think you really can only do on a map like this, where, again, you can go for that walling in case your opponent goes for the big Ling flood. Otherwise, you pretty much get caught playing a ring around the rosy, trying to catch your opponent. But fast third expansion going to be coming up over here for SolO, and this is what I was talking about. A lot of Zerg plays, just because it's so easy to defend 3 bases by defending one of them. You defend this base over here, you have your army well positioned over here, you have your queens well positioned somewhere along this area near the ramp, and you're pretty much solid in terms of being able to defend your main base, because you're defending your ramp. They can't get up to your main base without it. And you're also defending your natural expansion through the same sort of means. So you just see a lot of Zerg players willing to go up to those expansions much quicker. But taking a look, CatZ is not going up to that third just yet. He is throwing down a spine crawler. He's getting up a lair tech really, I mean, not super duper insanely quickly, but definitely much quicker than I think some other builds would let him if he was planning to go for like a faster third or something. But here's the thing, SolO is not too far behind on that. SolO got the gas geysers much earlier on, so he actually still also has a lair tech going out, but he's sitting on 3 bases versus the 2-base economy of CatZ. And I feel like if this is going to be some kind of big 2-base spire plays, it looks like it's going to be with all these gas geysers taken for CatZ, I'm going to sort of favor SolO in this. He's going to have that third expansion for extra larva. He's going to be mining from it. He's going to have the potential for the faster 5th and 6th gas geysers for Mutalisk production. There's just a lot that I really like about SolO's position. And SolO, he kind of played it out a little bit safe in the sense that he got out the Baneling nest, but look at how many units he's made. He made 2 Zerglings, that's it. He lost one of them. And granted, similarly, CatZ didn't really go for any additional Zerglings, but I mean, SolO basically just got away with a third and didn't really have to pay anything for it. He's actually even ahead a couple of workers. I just feel like SolO is just inherently ahead in this game. I'm actually really struggling to think of where CatZ's lead is kind of gone and where those 300 minerals kind of went, besides, I guess, the spine crawler. The spine crawler really does indicate to me that CatZ was maybe a little bit concerned about really heavy aggression. He did also go for the 4 queen opening, so maybe looking to try and get that creep spread going or something, but I mean, the creep spread not going to be super effective unless you're dealing with a big attack from your opponent and you want your queens to get down to the low ground. A lot of Zerglings have been made so far for CatZ, and this is kind of the start of where CatZ is maybe going to look to try and get a little bit more aggressive. SolO, on the other hand, making a lot of these Banelings. He made that Baneling nest earlier on, and he saw those Zerglings moving out across the map. We'll see how good the Baneling hits end up being, as he is going to be able to get some pretty good Baneling hits already, killing off a majority of those Zerglings for CatZ. Only 3 of the Banelings end up being utilized, but that's all it takes to actually push CatZ back. And both of these players are going to be getting up their, you know, their Mutalisk counts and everything, but again, we have a third expansion for SolO, and we don't have it finished up just for CatZ just yet. 5th and 6th gas geysers have not been taken for SolO quite yet, so you may not have that big gas advantage yet, but the larva advantage is definitely going to be there. That mining advantage is also going to be there for a little bit longer, as well as, of course, even the small little drone count lead. Looks like the gas geysers are finally being taken, and the Mutalisks are now coming out for both sides. CatZ is trying to focus fire down those Banelings as he also manages to take out some of the Overlords and everything. Taking out the Banelings is definitely really nice. Gonna give him a lot more, I guess, flexibility in terms of what he's able to do with those Zerglings of his. And I would say CatZ has actually gotten a little bit more damage done in terms of Overlords killed off and supply blocking that's been done. But here we go. We have the big engagement over here with Mutalisks versus Mutalisks, and CatZ is starting to take a little bit of an edge. He's done a really good job of it. And in fact, CatZ, he's not sitting too far down in supply right now. He's still sitting down 6 workers. That is going to absolutely be a concern, especially since he's only gotten up 1 of his 2 gas geysers, whereas SolO is actually mining from both of his gas geysers now. So he's still got to maybe make something happen with it, but taking a look, he does have the Mutalisk advantage, and we'll see what he can do with it right now. I think a lot of that has to do with just the Glaive Worm bounces on the going to the Zerglings a lot of the time. So CatZ was able to soak up a lot more of that damage, was able to engage with more of the Mutalisks, I think, whereas with SolO was kind of waiting around and just kind of gathering up his Mutalisks, taking out some of the Overlords. CatZ unfortunately not going to be able to make a whole lot more happen inside the main base though, as the Spore Crawlers are going to easily be able to push him away for now. Has gotten a pretty good drone saturation over at that 3rd, and is starting to research pathogen glands. I guess identifying and saying like, okay, look, you had a lot of mining going on over at that 3rd. You already had your gas geysers taken at your 3rd. Although the natural expansion is what he really didn't end up seeing, so I guess CatZ can probably maybe make some guesses like, okay, you're going for Mutalisks, you've probably gotten all your gas geysers, or probably interested in getting all your gas geysers as fast as possible. So maybe I should start thinking about transitioning away from just the pure Muta versus Muta war. If I make a fast transition, if I can get away with it off of the small little Mutalisk lead that I had in the early stage of the game, I'm not going to be as far behind them. I'm just going to instantly end up dying to Mutalisks. And if I get out pathogen glands, if I get out these infestors, I'm going to be able to take a massive advantage of those Muta versus Muta engagements, as long as I can land the fungals. So that might be kind of the way that CatZ is thinking. SolO is starting to build up that fairly large Mutalisk count though. He's definitely taking a pretty big advantage, sitting up at 21 to 12 Mutalisks. Is getting up his own infestation pit. Maybe gonna try and play a little bit of catch up on that infestor tech, but I mean, for now, the infestors are gonna be popping out for CatZ, and he's gonna have that opportunity to get those money fungals out. We'll see if he manages to land them. SolO is definitely going to be winning, more than just like winning. He's going to be dominating that Muta versus Muta war with a +1 Carapace already researched on these Mutalisks. Now starting to get up the +1 flyer attacks. And with a higher number, I mean, it really is going to come down to those infestor fungal growths, and whiffing one of the fungal growths, but does manage to get another one, manages to get 2 of them, and it's not even necessarily the fact that he can chain all of them together, it's the fact that he can do a lot of good damage on them. And that's actually going to force SolO back. It's going to buy CatZ a little bit more time. He's going to gather more and more of that infestor energy, even if he did end up losing quite a few of them. He lost 3 of those infestors, so that is not exactly ideal for CatZ. He really does want to keep those alive, especially since I think he got Burrow for them. Try and keep them alive a little bit longer. I don't think there was an Overseer with the army, but the Burrow just not going off quite fast enough. It looks like there was an Overseer. 4th expansion going up for both of these players. CatZ does spot out his opponent's 4th expansion. At the same time, I'm sure SolO is going to be moving across the map and continuing that aggression once again with those Mutalisks, but he's getting up his own infestors, that's still CatZ getting up infestors. Infestation Pit did finish up. SolO goes straight up to Hive Tech, completely foregos the infestors, says to hell with pathogen glands, I'm going to get up the Ultralisks, because those Ultralisks just do not care about fungal growth, they don't care about Mutalisks, they don't care about Zerglings, they don't care about almost everything that's in this game right now. And they really are one of the strongest tech compositions they can go for in the late game stages of ZvZ. It's a kind of weird when it gets to Ultra versus Ultra, as we may end up seeing CatZ techs up to his own Hive, is continuing to take bases, and I do like the decision, you know, continuing to just try and take as many expansions as possible where your opponent is mostly focused on this kind of big Mutalisk army. It's hard for them to engage into the infestors. So the infestors just inherently are going to discourage an engagement for a while. And ooh, CatZ actually moving in over here with these Mutalisks. I'm actually wondering if he's just trying to sacrifice the supply. I mean, it's fairly early on to be sacrificing too much supply. He is definitely sitting at a huge Mutalisk deficit. He's going to end up losing even more of them. And I'm a little bit concerned right now for CatZ. Yes, he does have an Ultralisk Cavern coming up behind this. And yes, he's now going to be making, it looks like 70 Zerglings, but oh boy, he's really going to be struggling, I think, to deal with his opponent's Ultralisk just because he's not quite maxed out yet. Or at least that's one of the fears I have. It seems like he's able to get very close to max out, but again, these are, oh my god, these Zerglings, do they not actually have speed? No, they do have speed, okay, yeah. A little bit hard to tell sometimes when they're all clumped up and there's all those different StarCraft skins going on. Do apologize for that, but here we are. Mutalisks now coming on in over here for SolO. They're very clumped up, gotta be so careful. I like that. I like that a little pulling off a couple of these Mutalisks and just trying to clump them up for a split second and pulling them back, baiting out those fungal growths from CatZ. Those fungal growths are actually fairly difficult to land, so actually really nice move being able to bait those out. A lot of infested Terrans actually being thrown out over here for CatZ. And he's gonna be able to probably maybe get a cancel off on this this fourth expansion. Yeah, with a good focus fire down on that hatchery, there's no way that he's going to be able to save this. Are you kidding me? He uses the Banelings, that does enough splash damage. I didn't think that the surface area was going to be there for the Ultrals to take those out, but using the Banelings definitely works out quite well. Barely managed to save it by the skin of his teeth. Maybe he wants to use those Mutals to snipe that off a little bit later on, though. Regardless, Ultrals are now out. Chitinous plating is finished up, and it's going to be some pretty strongly upgraded Ultralisks that are just not going to die anytime soon. Couple of Stray Queens going to have to be very careful. Fungal growth going down on the Zerglings. Kind of oddly enough, it's not so much the damage that they're doing to the Zerglings as much as it is the fact that they're kind of acting as a force field against the Ultralisks. Can't really move past them. Ultralisk very much on the back lines, but here we go. CatZ coming out with some Ultralisk of his own, but they're in far fewer numbers, and they do not have chitinous plating just yet. About 8-9 seconds away from that. SolO's kind of still struggling, it seems like, to get inside of the bases of CatZ. CatZ has got a lot of SimCity going in his favor. Big parasitic bombs going down right now from SolO, though. And he cleans up all of the Mutalisks for CatZ. And this is turning into a really weird situation, but I really do feel like SolO has got a fairly firm hold of the situation, as he has just got so many Ultralisks. Whenever the Ultralisks pop out for CatZ, I mean, he just isn't able to do anything with them. They get instantly quasi-surrounded, and GG, SolO is able to take the game, tying up the series 1-1. All right, and with that, we go to yet another ace match in this Zerg versus Zerg between two Root members. Really weird game. I mean, it escalated so quickly. That's the way that I'll put it. Dust Towers, I was talking about, yeah, it's a macro map. You know, we end up seeing players take third expansions and stuff a little bit faster, but usually when I say that, I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, you get to fast Ultralisk tests really very commonly on this map. No, it's usually like, oh yeah, you get up to like a really high Mutalisk count, Muta versus Muta battles, or you see a lot of Roach Ravager, like late game play. Maybe you start to mix in some of those Hydros or like the Lurkers or something. But no, we're not, that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing just massive numbers of Ultralisks coming out on that map, which is really weird, especially as a follow-up from the first game. But ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna hop to a short little break while we get ready to hop into game number 3, our ace match. We'll see you guys there as soon as we are ready to hop into it. All right, here we are in game number 3, ladies and gentlemen. I skipped the map intro because we did have a fairly fast pull on the map. Arena spun down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, looking to close the series out very quickly in game number 3. Give it up for Root Gaming's player, SolO, with what I believe was a 13-12 gas and pool. And up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have the yellow Zerg player. Did end up getting out the spawning pool first, or sorry, the hatchery first, followed up by the spawning pool. We have the captain of Root Gaming, it's CatZ. And very surprising, I think, for CatZ to be going for such an early hatchery on Arena. This is the map. This is the map to go for early pulls on, to go for early aggression on, just because the rush distance is so incredibly small. We do have Spinecrawler coming down right now for CatZ. He's going to try and buy a little bit of time. He can afford to lose some drones because there is no hatchery behind this right now for SolO. SolO is only going to continue to make more and more of these Zerglings. He's got a Baneling nest on the way as well, so he's going to look to try and get out some Banelings, try and get some good detonations off, but he's got to keep these Zerglings alive. He needs to let this escalate out of control and try and get a little bit of damage done while he still can. But, oh man, this is going to be really, really difficult. There's not even going to be speed on the way for CatZ right now, and that's one of the big problems. He's already taken all of his guys off of gas, trying to get as much mining onto the minerals as possible. Spinecrawler uplifting, and maybe going to try and burrow in a more aggressive position, getting ready to defend the main base, or maybe even the natural expansion, but speed kicks in over here. SolO looking for opportunity to make the big run by. Baneling goes off and kills off a couple of the Zerglings over here for CatZ. CatZ just doesn't seem to have anything left over. The Queen goes down. A couple more Zerglings got to be coming out, but these Zerglings are not getting the advantageous position. They do not get the concave, and now the Zergling reinforcements for SolO are just going to be making their way across the map even faster than they already were. SolO, though, running out of Banelings, got to make a couple more. He's making them with the weakened Zerglings, which is a really, really good play. But is it going to be enough? He takes out all the Zerglings, and now the Queen going to be very vulnerable. One Baneling already actually goes down accidentally to a single Zergling, takes out the Queen. Baneling's going to make their way into the main base. And SolO, he's going to look for the big damage over here. If he can get a good hit on maybe the Zerglings as they pop out, or even just the drones, it could be a really nice position. He goes after the Spinecrawler instead of the drones. Kind of interesting decision, as he doesn't really manage to escalate out of control as much. Now another Queen is going to be able to pop out. A second Queen pops out over here for CatZ, so he's continuing to just get out more and more of the stuff, and now the drones are being pulled off the line. CatZ is getting worried. He's not feeling too good about the defense over here, and he's not going to have any additional mining. That's going to halt the next round of production. He's losing more of these workers, and SolO is still sitting up at 13 workers. He's sitting up 2 workers over CatZ now. But did CatZ manage to just hold? Was that enough? Pulling the drones, definitely a really scary moment over there, and it's not quite over just yet. SolO's still making more and more of these workers, or sorry, more and more of these Zerglings and more of these Banelings. And CatZ actually has started to do a little bit of droning over there, sneaking in a drone, trying to get out another Queen. Oh no, if he had a second Queen, he could do a whole position over at this ramp. He'd even have enough energy for maybe another transfuse, but this makes it so much harder. He lost his Spinecrawler in his main base as well, so this is going to be really, really difficult, because now he's actually pinned back over here behind the mineral line. The Banelings and the Zerglings can just walk straight up the ramp, but there's nothing in the main base to defend. CatZ's going to have to split up his drones. He's not splitting up his drones. He loses the majority of them. 3 workers left. GG gets called, and SolO takes out his captain and moves on to the semifinals. Really, really well done. And I'd love to just go back over the replay, look at the vision for CatZ to see, you know, he started making some of those, like a drone or 2 over there, maybe thinking that the aggression was over, and I think that was sort of one of the big problems that we ended up seeing. I do apologize, I had some of the break music going on for the beginning of that game. I did manage to turn that off, and luckily it's not copyrighted music, so that shouldn't affect the VODs too much. Yeah. Sorry, not CatZ 2-1. Sorry, I have the scoreboard updated incorrectly. It is going to be 2-1 in favor of SolO. So SolO ends up advancing on to the semifinals. Going to play versus the winner of Tails versus CatZ. Let's see. Looks like CatZ is currently in a game, as is Tails. I'd love to find out what the situation was. Beastie Cutie. What's the Beastie Cutie Matisse situ? Okay, so it looks like, according to the bracket, Matisse did get the bye over Beastie Cutie. Beastie Cutie, I guess, ended up forfeiting because he really just wasn't able to log on to the North American server, and you can't really play your game of StarCraft if you can't get on, so. And that definitely was going to cause a bit of a problem. Pili Pili playing off versus Matisse right now, so I guess we're pretty much just going to be waiting around to see whichever series finishes up first, whether it's going to be Tails versus CatZ or Pili Pili versus Matisse. Will hop into mid-series, whichever one of the series gets out of game first. And yeah, I think that'll pretty much be the game plan. So here's the situation. I know that we were at an ad break. I didn't actually end up running any ads during that last ad break because I got so caught up with the early aggression, the early pulls, getting excited and worrying about, you know, the fact that I was playing music at the beginning of the game and everything. So we are going to hop to a short little break since all we're really going to be doing is just waiting around for the next game anyways. So we'll be back in just a little bit, guys. You guys are still watching the Chairs4Gaming North American Cup.